I haven't recorded any game footage in a while. I have a different PC, different headphones. OBS has got new version. Just thought I'd try it out here. See what I can get. See what it looks like when I upload to YouTube. This game is called Remains. It's available on Steam. It is in early access. There's only one developer working on this game. Space survival, building, crafting. People call it Raft in Space, for an analogy, if you know the game Raft. I quite enjoy flying around in space and picking up items and building things. Currently, I finished all the content, main content, in about 10 hours. And I just kept playing, adding to my base, gathering more materials, just for the heck of it. So I thought I'd use this as a test video, just to put something video related out on my YouTube channel, since I did that when I was heavily into playing Elite Dangerous and haven't done it since. So there's plenty of videos out there on this game, so I'm not going to start from scratch. Obviously I am well into the game, but just using it for a test, so I'll just go over a couple things. First thing, that noise you hear are recyclers. They take things and recycle them into other things, such as things you can find mining asteroids, plastic, scrap metal, and wire. I'm currently turning some scrap metal into metal raw materials on one recycler, and the other one I'm making plastic raw materials out of plastic. Those are used for 3D printer. This, I think, almost broke my game. My base used to have a room right here. It was 7 tiles wide by 2 tiles deep. And then, like I said, I kind of got done with all the content and decided to go crazy and make a giant room. So I expanded it to, I think it's 10 by, I don't even know. Actually, I haven't counted how wide it is. I believe it's something like 10 tiles by 15. It now takes the game about 7 minutes to load. So if you're playing this game and you get to the point where I am and you think your game is broken because it pauses loading at 85%, it might be because there's something in the code that is either breaking, or perhaps it's some kind of safety check, or maybe it's just my system. But I found that this game now gets to 85% when I load it, and then it just sits there for 7 minutes, and then it starts loading the rest of the way. And it did not do that until I added this enormous room. So I'm thinking maybe it's the cause of that. I don't know if it's too large of an area, too many windows, no idea. The other thing I was going to show for this demo video is my print farm. These are all 3D printers. The thing about 3D printers is you can only print one item at a time, and then you need to take it off the build plate and print another. Well, I thought that was inefficient, so just like my recyclers, I started out with 2 3D printers. So I would take the item off this, tell it to print another one, take the item off this, tell it to print another one, go back here, wait a minute, do the same thing. So I was effectively using 2 prints to get nearly double the amount of prints in the same amount of time, because as soon as I would take one from here, I could restart one over here. I determined that it would take several more printers to make it a continuous process where I could click the take button to take the existing printed part, and then the print button to start a print, and do the same, do the same, do the same in a circle, and then get back and the first one would be done. I currently have 5 printers here, and it's still not enough. I think 7 might be the ideal number, but then it's going to become a matter of space. If you can actually sit in one place, that was the other thing I wanted to do, is not move, just sit in one place and access all the printers. So I think I'm happy with this. It works pretty well. So this is how the 3D printers work. You tell it if you want a metal part or a plastic part. You have the raw materials down in the lower left in your inventory, which I don't have any plastic right now. That's why I'm making more, but I have plenty of metal. And it takes a minute or so to make one metal part. And then you have to take it off the print bed, and you can print another one. So you can see with one printer, you're just sitting here waiting if you want to build up a little spare inventory of printed parts. So that's why I built 2 printers. And that's why now I decided to try 5 printers. So let me get them all going on metal parts. As soon as they're all done here, I'll show you the process. Okay, they're all done. So here is the process. I now have one part. Eat some food here. I have one part, you can see in the lower left. Watch that number go up with much greater efficiency now. Take, print, escape. Take, print, escape. Take, print, escape. Etc., etc. Go back to the first one and see it's not quite 100% efficient because I still have to sit here and wait a little bit. Oops. So there you go, I've already made 15 metal parts in the time it would normally take to print about 5. Or 3, actually. Occasionally I'll hit the wrong button. Needs energy, okay. So you've seen the print farm in action. Now the reason these have stopped is because this game relies on 2 different types of power. Solar power obviously only works when the sun is not blocked by the planet. The planet is there through the windows, you can see the planet. And it works on batteries and generators. Up above me, I have solar panels. They feed batteries. They cannot directly feed an item. They can only feed into batteries, and then batteries can feed 2 different items. And you cannot hook up a solar panel to a battery and a generator to a battery. Generators are the other way to get power. You make a generator and you feed it plastic, and it turns the plastic into energy that then charges the battery and then goes to the device. So the reason that I can print from this printer here and not the others is because the solar panels, like I said, feed into a battery, and if you don't use them, it charges the battery. If you are using the devices, it takes the same amount of energy, it seems, as the solar panel can put in, so you're not building up a charge. So because each battery can only power 2 printers, and I have 5 printers, I've got one battery that is only feeding this one printer, and now it's run out of energy, but it had enough energy there to go longer than the others because these have 2 printers on one battery, so they appear to have used the battery faster than the single. So there's my print farm. Let's see what else I can show. Here's an interesting thing. Things that are floating in space and get stuck against the window, you can take. It's another interesting thing. Things in your backpack. Normally, if I had the oxygen over here, this is your personal inventory. This is your backpack. This is the backpack symbol. If you have oxygen over here or anything over here in your personal item inventory, when you pick another one up of the same thing, it will add to the number. However, if you have things in your backpack and you pick one up, it goes into your personal inventory if there's an open slot and not to your backpack, increasing the number there. So now I have 2 spaces taken up with oxygen because it's sent it there. Also, you can only stack 64 of anything in one slot, so I can't put that on top because you can only hold 64. So let's go outside. As soon as you open an airlock, gravity goes away and oxygen production goes away. Once you have built your base and it's enclosed, the ship automatically generates gravity and oxygen. I could have left that door open. There's currently no reason to shut it. Your base doesn't have any ill effects if it has no oxygen or gravity inside. Here's the outside of my base. Like I said, started with a very small base, then I turned it into something to look like an airplane. A little forward-looking cockpit here in glass. And then I built this section on for storage. And then I finished all the content and decided to go crazy building, and that's when I added, like I said, this was originally 7 tiles wide and 2 tiles deep, and now it's enormous. Over here where I was talking about the solar panels feeding the printers, there you can see the printers, and here are the solar panels. Now I don't have the wire cutters on me. The wire cutter tool is the electrical tool, and if I had it in my hand right now as an item, it would show the lines from each device, where they're going and the direction the power is feeding. So I don't have that in my hands right now, but basically I have a cluster there of 3 batteries. I have 3 solar panels. Oh, and I guess I lied. I thought I had 2 batteries. Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, so I've got 3 batteries because each solar panel can only hook to 1 battery. So they're all powered by 1 solar panel, and then batteries can connect to 1 or 2 devices, and I've got 5 printers, so 2 of those batteries are hooked up to 2 printers each, and then one of them is just hooked up to the 5th printer. They all appear to be pointing in the same direction. However, there's no sun over there. It sets over there and it rises on the other side. And you'll know that they're active by this, if you can see that kind of maroon, I guess, brownish maroon colored button in the middle, that will turn bright red. So when that red light is on, these are active and receiving power from the sun, and they will rotate. So as soon as the sun comes up on the other side of the planet, these will all swivel towards it, and that red light will come on. I have not found anything that blocks them, so no shadows if you stand in the way, or you can't build vertically, you can only build horizontally, so I haven't been able to build any tall structure to interfere with the view of the solar panels. But I've done things like I've got here, where I've got those batteries kind of blocking, and also some of these solar panels are theoretically blocking the ones in front of them, and I haven't noticed that having any effect. Since we're here, we can go this way, and these are trash traps. When they're working, they spin and they gather the space junk that's floating by. You can see some items. Down there is a metal pipe that is scrap metal. There's another one over there. Rubber looks like scrap metal, but it's orange. All kinds of different things. So these will actually catch the garbage, so you can catch stuff without physically being here. And then I can press the E button, and now in my inventory it shows the items that trash trap had captured. So I got some wire, metal plate, rubber, and some food. There is, oh, and the reason why it's spinning is this battery has some energy. So here's another one. You can see the icon down there that says collect. So that one added to some of the stuff I had and gave me some additional stuff. There's a piece of cheese pizza that just hit me in the head. Now my inventory's full, so some of the stuff turns into boxes because I don't have enough inventory to hold it. So what I can do is go over to one of these boxes I have placed over here. And unload some stuff. Now, I have 6 trash traps here. This one doesn't work. There is some kind of a distance limit for trash traps. And the way I've got these spread apart, this one here doesn't collect anything. So I should remove it or see if I can maybe move it. It's got to be too close to this one over here. But I tried to get an even number spread across, and I didn't want to spend a whole bunch of time, because every time you move it, you have to reconnect the electrical line to the battery. So I figure having 5 of them working is good enough. I don't need to have 6. And once they're full, they won't collect anything else. They'll stop, obviously. That's why those were stopped, and their batteries still have energy, because they quit using energy when they don't spin. So when they get full and just stop, they're not using energy. So the sun hasn't come up, but they still have energy stored in the battery. And again, I put these boxes because I am at the stage in the game where it doesn't matter what I do, pretty much. I've done all the content, so I'm just kind of gathering materials and building things and playing around. And so, yeah, I have, let's see, I've got a box over here that's got more food than I could eat in quite a while. Same with oxygen. And then we see the rest of my base is pretty much just solar panels for the things inside the base. This has a spare power generator, battery, and wire extension. I only used wire extensions once I got this big base going and decided to see how many trash traps I could get working. this is the wire extension. It's for the limit. There's a limit as to how far you can extend a wire, and this lets you extend a wire from whatever device. In this case, solar panels can only go to batteries. Batteries go to devices. So this battery has a line coming out, and it wouldn't quite reach that trash trap and that trash trap over there, so I needed a wire extension. So that was the first time I made one in the game. I didn't find a use for them until this point, after I finished the content. Let's go check out the rest of the base. Again, I am noticing some lag now that I've got that huge room. Like right, yeah, just kind of jumps frames every now and then. Alright, let's start at the front of the base. Front of the base, here we go. This is my cockpit. Looking forward. Some of the things you can see again are the space trash or parts. These are what you craft with. Then there's things like that yellow, gray, and blue piece straight ahead of me there. Those are pieces that you can take your pickaxe to and hit them, and they will break in, give you scrap metal, wire, and plastic. There are asteroids, the ones that have no color to them. You can't do anything with. The ones with light color, like that one there has white as a color, those you can mine for minerals that you can then put in the recycler to turn into things for constructing. That one is aluminum, it's white. Let's see if we can see another one out here. Yeah, I can't really see another one. There's orange, red, purple, blue. There's a blue one over there. That's brainium that you get from the blue asteroids. Then the other thing that's out the window is the ships, the destroyed ships. There's one right in front of me, a little dot, if you can see that in the center of my view. That is the remains of a ship, destroyed ship. Currently, you can't do anything with those, but you can find black boxes, which is part of the story, part of the actual in-game content. Each destroyed ship has a black box that's in it or floating around it that you get, and then you can decode the information to get a little piece of the information on what happened to cause all of this. You'll see generators and batteries around my base. What I tried to do is have everything powered by solar. And let me get that electrical tool here so I can actually show. There we go. So here's your main ship control panel. Things you can do to your ship core. This is a destroyed ship locator, which is showing right now ahead of me, because ahead of me there is a destroyed ship. This, you can see, is powered from this battery, which is powered by this solar panel. Now it says needs energy because, again, the sun is not up. It's coming up, it's close. I can see over there, it's getting brighter. So when this solar panel is working, it feeds this battery, and then when I use the main ship controls to move the ship, for example, you can see now our entire ship is moving forward. That is drawing power from the battery. You can see the battery depleting. So even though the sun's not up and the solar panels aren't working just quite yet, I can still move because this battery had been charged by the solar panel before the sun went behind the planet. There you can get a better view of a destroyed ship out the window. I could disable the engine, and the ship slows down and stops. Now, why do I have a generator here? Generators take plastic and turn it into energy. Why do I have a generator and a battery? This is my backup. When you first start, it's easier to make a generator than it is a solar panel. So I started by using generators that are hooked to batteries that are hooked to my ship and the other items that require power. And then once I got to the point where I could make solar panels, I put solar panels around my ship so that they could power the devices. But again, because they only do it when the sun's out, I left the generators and batteries as an emergency backup. So if for some reason I need to move my ship and I don't have the sun out and I've depleted this battery because I've used it when there's no sun to refill it, I could cut this line with the wiring tool like this, go over to this battery, and discover that I have placed this battery a little bit too far to power my ship. But each battery can power two things, so I bet that one will work. Yeah, there. So now my ship is powered again by that second battery. So important lesson. I should move that battery a little bit forward. But in case of an emergency, I could do that then too. Anyway, so there we go. Now I've hooked it back up again. One thing you'll notice, that battery's fully charged. If I do remove it, and then place it again, it's now empty, so something to keep in mind. Now if I go back to the wiring tool, hook that up there, and now that is long enough if I wanted to power it to there. Now, future for the developer, I think that you should be able to hook both power sources up to an item. That way you could have the emergency backup always connected. For things such as the recycler that was back there recycling plastic, I think if you have a generator and a solar panel both hooked to it, I think it should work twice as fast. It's just an idea. So okay, so we got that. These are my controls for the destroyed ship locator and the control or the power for my main ship controls and a backup battery. Over here we have the oxygen generator. Now this sounds like a really cool thing. I found it to be 100% totally useless. I didn't see any point in making this. It fills oxygen bottles. Okay, that's great. Well, once you get your base built and enclosed with walls and ceilings, it generates oxygen. So as long as you're in here, if you notice, I'm at 100% oxygen. So in the lower left, you can see I need food, but I don't need any oxygens because, not because this is here, it's because your base makes the oxygen for you. So this really doesn't help you once you have your base enclosed because it makes oxygen for you. And there are so many oxygen bottles floating by that I didn't find it any use before I had my base completed and providing me oxygen. I could find oxygen easy outside, as shown by the fact that I have 63 here with 64 max. Excuse me. And I have 64 here, and I have 64 on the roof. Also, you can see my food here is just about maxed as well. There's 4 types of food. I have, between the roof and up here, I have, you know, almost 3 complete stacks of all of the different foods. I also have the same thing going on with the wiring over here, where I have solar panel currently powering 2 orangeries, which make food. Talk about that in a second. And I have a generator over here. Notice I don't have the oxygen generator hooked up because, as I said, it doesn't really serve any purpose. You don't need it inside the ship, and there's so many oxygen bottles outside, you don't need it there either. So I would not even build that because it doesn't serve a point. This is, yeah, I don't even know if I want to talk about that. That's a robot. You can build a little robot. It's kind of like a pet that wanders around until it runs out of energy, and then it just stops. You have to pick it up and put it back in this thing. It's just a cosmetic thing. These are orangeries. These are super overpowered. I think these are at least 2 times what they should do. You can see on the left it shows the various food packets that you can find floating in space, and on the right there's an organic food packet, which I have 21 of in my inventory right now. What that does is you put the regular food that you find floating in space into the orangery, and it creates an organic food that you can take. And currently, I haven't sat here and counted it, but it's something like, I don't know, maybe like 4 or 5 to 1 space food that you put in it compared to the organic food that you get out. And the organic food gives you a higher percentage of your food needs than the standard food. So if I take some meat steaks over here and I press E, first thing it did was it took the food, organic food that was in there, and it starts growing another one. If I keep hitting E, you see the green fills up. I've now filled it up with food. So it's basically, it's like filling the generator with plastic. You're filling it with energy, and now it's growing this superfood. Okay, that's fine. Let me put these back. That bar hardly went down. This thing creates so much food from the little bit that you put in it that it's ridiculously overpowered. And yeah, I can just sit here. Again, this is kind of like the print farm. Exactly like the print farm, actually. It's printing you food, basically. You can just sit here and just keep going, and get a ton of food for the amount you put in. And as you see over here, I have literally more food than I could ever use in this game between that and this and what's on the roof. So yeah, this at least 2 times overpowered. Over here we have the repair table. Repair table does not use power. It does use materials. Now you can see that I have the wire tool, and you can see underneath it there's a kind of an off green bar. It's fully green when a tool is new, and then it goes to an off green, it goes to an orange, and then it goes to a red, and then the tool will break, so it disappears and you have to make a new one. Or you can repair it, and it tells you what it takes to repair it. I won't repair this now, but I keep a box here with parts that are required to repair tools. So anytime my tools need repairing, I've got the raw materials, I store my tools here, and then I've got the bench to repair them. Now we go through a corridor to the recycler, which is really loud in my ears. Hopefully it's not obnoxiously loud in the video, but I'm guessing it might be. And they are, again, one's turning plastic into 3D printed plastic material, and one's turning metal into the same thing. And they are running. And the battery does not say needs energy. So that means the sun's out. This is powered by solar. This is powered by that generator. It's full because I fed the generator enough to fill this battery up last time I used it. This one is empty because the solar panel above goes to the battery and powers these two devices. And because they're both running, or even if just one was running, it eventually gets this battery down to nothing, but it's still providing power from the solar panel, so they still run. This is cosmetic. You can make tables and things for your base. The only thing I made from here was a little head in a jar, a table, and a chair, just so I could say that I used all the items in the game. So there you have a head in a jar and a little corner table and a chair. I think that might have been a Halloween thing, or if you know The Simpsons, maybe it's a reference to The Simpsons. Or the Futurama, sorry, Futurama that had heads in jars. Next to it is robot. You can make the little robot, like I said, and he just kind of wanders around, and then eventually you have to pick him up and plop him in his charger to charge, and then once he's charged, he just kind of roams around. I accidentally made 2 of them and ran them for 1 day and then just put them in a box because it was just kind of annoying when they stopped working. And then we just get to my inventory, low on that scrap because I built this huge base. And yeah, just made some stuff for future building. These are all filled with plastic. I'm getting more plastic than I can possibly use now. That's it. That is a tour of my base in the game remains. These are internal doors. They don't actually work as airlocks, so they're just visual. And there's the sun out there. So a little test video of OBS showing the game. There you go. There you can see the red light on the solar panels. Solar panels are all pointing toward the sun, so now everything in my base is powered by solar. And again, trash traps stop spinning when they're full. You take the stuff out of it. Like I said, I've got so much food. When I get food, I just eat it right away. Oxygen, I use it right away because I don't need any more. Randomly throw things in boxes. This is the one that doesn't seem to work because it's too close to that one, I'm assuming. There you go. That's the game remains. The late game remains once you've done most of the stuff there is to do and just start messing around. You notice that the items, when your inventory's full and it spits them into a little container, you can get hurt by those because these trash traps are spinning. I have taken health damage by being really close to the trash trap, emptying it, and it creates 2 or 3 boxes, and one of them smacks me hard enough to take my health down. So there we go. Let's go ahead and see if we can find that big old spaceship. I don't have my pickaxe, so I can't break down an item into its constituent parts. But we can kind of roam around and check out one of the bigger wrecks. And like I said, you cannot smack on this one. And break it down into parts. Those boxes with the orange lids contain multiple items. This one had plastic and scrap. Again, If I put my plastic down there, the next time I grab plastic, it'll add to the 15 that I have. But if you have something in your backpack, it adds it over here and not into your backpack. So I usually keep oxygen, food, and tools in my backpack to keep that filled up. Because otherwise, if you're not paying attention, you might think you don't have any free slots if you want to pick something up in space, but you do have a free slot. It's just that you've got oxygen in 2 slots or plastic in 2 slots because your backpack doesn't stack the way you think it does. I don't know if that's intended or a bug, but... And there's one of the asteroids, like I said, colored asteroids. You can use the borer to bore into them, and you get, I believe it's between 1 and 3 pieces of the minerals that are contained within the asteroids. And like I said, there goes another oxygen tank. There are so many of them out there that you don't need that oxygen generator in the ship. This is a piece that if I had my pickaxe, I could smack on it and it would eventually disappear, and I would get plastic, wire, and scrap metal. Yeah, there's another box. And I've already got more oxygen than I can possibly use, and it's taking up an inventory spot. So one thing I saw somebody talk about was wishing that the trash traps, you could put filters on them so they would only collect certain things. I think that would be cool. If you're going too fast and you run into an item, which I wasn't there even though I tried, it will damage you and possibly kill you depending on how fast you're going. So watch out, you don't want to run into stuff. Also, if you go too far to the sides, there's like radiation. You start taking radiation damage and pretty much have to turn around and go as fast as you can trying to get out of that area. And to pick stuff up, yeah, you just get close to it. Use your action key, defaults to E. I'm not even sure if you can change your keystrokes on this game because I've just been living with the ones that it uses by default. And this is the kind of thing that happens around a full trash trap, is sometimes some of the stuff it's gathered it doesn't have room for. There we go, more food. I don't care. Get it out of my inventory. Surprised my spacesuit still fits the amount of food I'm eating at this point. Okay, there we go. Like I said, just trying to see if OBS would work and what it would look like uploaded to YouTube. So I hope if anybody is playing Remains, maybe this might be helpful for them, or if you thought about playing it. I do think it's worth the money just because I like flying around and collecting stuff and building things. Even though I finished all the currently available content, hopefully he continues working on it and makes more. Boy, it's got to be this big room that's causing my issues, because every time I open or shut the door, I get that lag. Let's see if our recycling's done. Oh, it is. Recycling takes, the amount of time it takes depends on how much you're recycling. These are the things that you get from the asteroids. This is after they've gone through the recycler and turned them into components instead of just minerals. And then I can go back over to the print farm, and now I've got raw materials, but honestly 64 plus another row of each of the parts is enough to make probably anything I want to make, possibly between now and whenever there's an update with more stuff to make. So there we go, a little look at remains, test of OBS, and we'll catch you later.